Hi everyone, so here is Moonlight Soul and my good friend Adrienne Gibson from Just Getting Astrology, and we're going to be diving deep, analyzing and going into details with this full moon in Virgo to give a justice to Virgo archetype. Hi Adrienne, nice to have you
Hello,
back. How are
Mila.
you?
I'm doing very well. The weather is nice here in Tennessee and starting the garden season already and working on these charts.
Absolutely. So it's all undergoing, and I know that you and I and a few other people are also preparing for detox. So it's all in a Virgo fashion for us.
It all in a Virgo fashion. Yep, just Sunday. Can't wait.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, we have a lot of things to share with regards to this Virgo full moon. There are definitely a lot of things happening, and there is quite a bit of a movement since the last time we got together for the new moon in Aquarius. So yeah, it will be interesting to dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. Shall I pull up the chart?
Let's do it. Let's dive in.
All right. And there we go. All right.
Perfect.
Full moon at 5 degrees 23 minutes.
Yep.
And the moon's in Virgo. And this chart here is for Eastern Standard Time, Tennessee time. So it'll be adjusted wherever you are in the world. It's an interesting looking chart. It's a lot of stuff on one side and there's moon qualities on the other side. So there's some integration going on here.
Absolutely. And it's interesting to see that Mercury, I mean, today when we're recording it, Mercury is still in Aquarius, but I just really think it's interesting that Mercury moved into Pisces a day before, like last minute, but it needed to be said that Mercury has to be in opposition with the moon ruled by Mercury. So I think this is definitely telling, especially now Mercury being in a new phase conjunction still with Pluto.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's this Mercury in Pisces in the closing phase to the sun. I think it's a really important place for it to be, really. To me, it's saying that a way of thinking, a perspective that we've carried is coming to an end. And as well as the sun, a way that we have been, expressing ourselves, shining our lights into the world is coming to an end along with it. So to me, it links this idea that it's a mindset that has created this way of shining in the world. And they're both coming to an end. And how it's linked to this new phase energy of Pluto in Aquarius.
I really feel with this Mercury, Sun, and Saturn conjunction, which actually all of those are happening together on the same day. I think it's the 28th, right? 28th, the day before the last day of the month, because we have the leap year this year. To me, how I see this is literally like the whale is disappearing. Like to me, this free conjuncting, it's like until this point, it was glitches in a matrix. And with this Mercury conjunct to Sun in a closing phase conjunction, and then on the 28th, Mercury going to conjunct Sun, and both Mercury and Sun are going to conjunct Saturn, and Saturn being in Pisces. And this is right after the full moon, which of course, as usual, offers an illumination of something. This is literally where the veil is starting to fall down.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But at the same time, we have been doing the work over the last year or so. It's been an intensive job to help to internalize some inner strength as some inner resilience for when the matrix starts to come down, we won't be lost. And I think that this Pluto, Mars, Venus conjunction is important in this energy because it's really giving us the guidepost as to where to move. towards our future. And I would describe that as Pluto's opposition point, which is to move into Leo. You know, this is the direction of evolution, is to move into Leo, move into our hearts, move into that which brings us joy, moving into love, love of humanity. I mean, we could go on describing this energy of Leo, but the ability to self-actualize who we are as individuals, I think, is a really good way of saying it.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
And I mean, just the fact that we are in Pisces season, of course, Sun being in Pisces, and so is Mercury and Saturn. Pisces is the ultimately most spiritual sign. It contains everything, all the other zodiacal signs, and also it's about the deeper meaning. It's about the true meaning of life, the true, which is all about connection, because it's the unity consciousness, that there is actually no separation between us, because everything that is happening is affecting everyone anyway, even though we are under the illusion, under the veil of separateness, because when we incarnate and you know, our soul is being poured into this physical avatar, we feel separate, because we see reality through the senses, which are three-dimensional. But at the same time, actually, when we learn to ground in our body, it's the ultimate tool to connect us with everything. So I feel that this is where we really start in, as you said, and as we've been talking about, where we really starting to embody our multidimensionality and starting to perceive reality from a very different vantage point that is actually going to support us in going beyond, which is all this Aquarian energy. It's all about going beyond. We're going beyond where we've ever been, at least in the recent thousands of years, because of course there is nothing new under the sun, as we know. But this heart and Leo archetype, which is about the purpose, ultimate purpose and destiny, it's playing such an important role. And Sun, as the ruler of Leo, is in Pisces. So this is where we all actually starting to come to wholeness again.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I think that this shift of just the mindset, the ability to take in our reality is about to change, you know, because eventually Mercury is going to move past the Sun and Saturn. It's going to move on, and eventually it's going to get into Aries, where we're really going to start this beginning to see things anew, which can only help us, you know, to begin to break free from these limitations that we've had, which is what we're all doing. We're all essentially, the matrix is beginning to dissolve in front of our eyes, and we have had our minds aligned to this matrix to the point where we believe it to be real. And it's a scary place, but as it starts to dissolve, we have to be able to be secure within ourselves so that we can come into whatever is next for us. And the growth pattern that's coming in next. And I think that this North Node Chiron conjunction in Aries is leading us in that direction. This is the direction of emotional growth for us. And it is, you know, it's a place of uncomfortability. I know I was writing in my moon report this week that this energy of moving in our own individual directions is a source of wounding. And I know we've talked about this before, that in the past, in human history, as human beings were to do something like that, it meant certain death. You didn't leave the tribe. But we've evolved far enough in humanity to now be able to separate. So it's no mistake that as we move into Pluto moves into Aquarius, that we can begin to move in these separate directions. And it's the goal. North Node, Aries. And so while we're going to feel some uncomfortability because it's really a difficult thing to do, to go against everything you've been taught, we'll still have to become curious as, you know, as the veils come down, we can, you know, become curious to see what's out there, you know, what's next.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally believe that. And also it's just because I did my digging, my investigator work, and I found out that the last Chiron North Node conjunction actually happened in Aquarius in 2008, which was literally just before Pluto moved into the sign of Capricorn. So we can once again see how the cycles are closing. And also the interesting fact, because I just couldn't let it go, I was digging deeper, and the next, and that at the time in 2008, Saturn was in Virgo, and it was actually literally almost in opposition with where is it now, almost at the same place where Moon is. And next time Chiron and North Node are going to conjunct, is going to be actually in a sign of Cancer, and then it's going to retrograde into Gemini in 2038, 39, end of 2038, beginning of 39. So we're going to have double conjunction of North Node and Chiron at the end of almost Pluto's transit, technically, because at that time, actually, Neptune will be almost done with Aries, and I believe also Uranus with Gemini. It will be a lot of culmination. So I really feel like how everything in astrology is cyclical and nothing ever happens in separation. So to me, it's very interesting how this 2008 was such a beginning of a change, because Pluto entering the sign of Capricorn throughout the last 15, 16 years, we really saw, it was all manifesting in front of our eyes, obviously over the time, because Pluto doesn't show you everything the next day. It was the step-by-step process. Saturn was in Virgo, and we were able to see the manifestation of that, which now needs to change. It needs to change. And also with the, you know, the fact that Pluto at the time was in Sagittarius, the story of the past is ending. Jupiter was actually in Capricorn. It had with Saturn being in, you know, so all this put together. And then what is going on here in the real time with this conjunction happening in the sign of Aries, which is representing the new beginning, and everything is supporting us. All the other planetary placements are supporting us. The next time there is a conjunction is going to be in Cancer and Gemini, which is saying Cancer, we are creating a new identity for ourselves as human. Literally, we're creating a human 2.0, but not, like I said, not from the technocratic point of view, but from the spiritual point of view. And then Gemini is the multidimensionality. It's about you can be anything you want to be, because everything is available to you. And the more you connect to your higher self, you connect into everything there is, ever was, and ever will be. Is that everything there is, ever was, and ever will be is the source, and is the love, because everything is love. There is no separation. So this is where we look at the microcosm of the cycles and the macrocosm, and we can see where, I mean, what it's going to look like. That's up to every single one of us, because we are the creators, which is why there is such a strong Capricornian, Saturnian energy present this year with the full lunation in Capricorn. But it is changing.
Yes.
It is changing. It is changing, and now literally whatever was put into, you know, the beginning of this process started obviously a long time ago, but the really beginning started in 2008. And now we culminate in all of that, all of that is culminating now, and we can see with all these new conjunctions, new cycles, and this North Node Chiron conjunction in Aries, it is really happening. It is really happening in real time. And by the end of 2030s, things will look very different.
Very, very different. I love how you're calling it the multiverse instead of the multiplicity. I love that, because the multiplicity is really locked into the Saturnian world. It's very in here. But when you talk about the multiverse now, because Pluto is now in Aquarius, now we can go outside of Saturn and all of the different layers that we can connect with on the mental level is amazing, and definitely something for the future or the now. Really, we're our ability to connect with it now is happening.
Yes, yes, because as the veil is getting thinner and all these timelines are becoming available to us, like And the secret ingredient is the feeling. Because in order for us to tune into anything, any frequency, any vibration, any timeline, anything you want, you need to match the frequency with how you feel. You need to increase
Yes.
your frequency, and that only happens from how you feel, what you vibrate out there into the space. So that's why with this full moon and being in Pisces season, this is all about healing. This is all about letting go of these aspects of the past that are weighing us down. But we cannot do that without actually going through the healing process. It's not just going to disappear on its own. We need to, I mean, it can happen very quickly now because of this Aquarian energy. Everything is very accelerated. But this is the opportunity with this full moon in Virgo and being Pisces season, where we can identify what it is that needs changing, that needs, letting go, healing, and we can consciously make the intentional decision that, yes, I'm letting this go. I don't need to drag this with me into another 20 years. And everybody has that opportunity. Whether they're going to take it or not depends how they identify reality and whether they're ready to see a different way.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's interesting that that the moon is in this in this place where we get to discern what it is we want to align with. And the moon is linked to the feelings. We'll feel it. And as I was saying earlier, with Pluto and Aquarius and the energy to move into our hearts, this is also a place where we'll feel from the heart. You'll be able to feel what needs to change. And so if a situation pops up and it's not coming from the heart, you'll feel it. This full moon allows us to be able to sort it out. We don't need that. So I think for the next few days, we'll have experiences that pop up in our life, and we'll say, that's not for me, or that is for me. And it's like the guidepost, like I said earlier, from the place of feeling, where what we will keep and what we will let go of. And I think that like we were talking about, anything that you can do to help the release happen. I know a lot of people have been getting sick over the last few months, and that's also part of the releasing process. But we can also release residual things. We can do cleanses or exercise or meditation to help release things that are residual, particularly because Mercury's in a closing phase. There are things that are in our minds that have to go as well. Mercury is ruling this moon, and it's closing, and that is the energy of letting stuff go. So I don't find there's any accidents there.
Oh, no accident whatsoever. And it's about changing the pattern. It's about changing the pattern, like questioning and changing the pattern. And like behind everything is really an intention, because especially with Virgo, it's all a step-by-step process. So because with the Pisces, it's like, there is the totality, but we can get kind of lost. We can get kind of lost in it, like, oh my god, what is it, where do I start? And it's a step-by-step process. You start with whatever is the most pressing thing for you right now, because when we get it down to practical level, because Virgo, it's like it can be overwhelming, so you just go with whatever, like, okay, I feel like, well, maybe I need to start drinking less coffee, maybe I'm too overstimulated, whatever the hell it is. Like, at the end of the day, nobody knows you better than you know yourself. So it's just about recognition of the pattern that now doesn't work, that lost a meaning, or, okay, yes, this supported me for 20 years, fine, but it doesn't support me anymore. And with this square that we have going on between all these planets and Jupiter, it's
Yes.
what is that thing that we attach to? There is still this something, because Jupiter in Taurus can be very stubborn, very fixated on, like, this is how it always was, this is how it is and stuff. So this is the challenge, yeah, because there is something that we need to adjust, you know, and this is in everyone's reality. And I know people might say that, oh, well, you know, this is all metaphorical and stuff, but this is my life and I have no choice. And, you know, like, this is the way it is. But what are the small steps, you know, as we've been saying before, what are the small steps? What are the small adjustments when we can see that there is something that is not working for us anymore, whatever it is? For example, you know, this friend of mine that I speak to, and, you know, she just complains all the time, or whatever, or whoever, you know, like, you can see your relational pattern, your everyday habits, your whatever it is, your reality, it's your little world, your creation. What doesn't work, and what are the small adjustments we can all make to start making change? And then it's a step-by-step process. One thing leads to another, without trying to look at the whole thing and getting lost, because, like, oh my God, I can't change all that. You know, well, you don't have to change it overnight. But with this Virgo full moon, things are becoming illuminated to us, and we are being invited to start making small adjustments in letting that, which now we understand is not going to support us going forward, in letting that go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the link between this Jupiter and Venus is interesting because, you know, it has to do with values and beliefs, like what is your truth? And Mars and Venus are starting they're in a new phase conjunction to Pluto. So this is a new way of us relating to ourselves and to other people. It's, you know, it's how, you know, Mars and Venus with evolutionary astrology is how we complete ourselves in our relationships. And it has to do with how we relate to ourselves as well as to other people. And we are breaking free from that. You know, it's an Aquarius. We are breaking free from the past way, and we are beginning this process of individuation. And it is totally linked to the belief system that we carry. Are we, you know, in the belief of the past, where, you know, we have to act in a particular way because this is how it was taught to us, or we have to believe in a particular way? And if we begin to shift this, because Uranus and Jupiter are conjunct, there's a breaking apart of these values, and the truth is breaking apart as well, both linked to Aquarius because of the Uranus, that our beliefs and our values and how we act in the world are getting ready to experience a shift. This is a third quarter square. It's literally us taking a step away from how it's been done in the past and beginning to align with our own truth. And in doing that, we will find things that we no longer align with. And this is where this Virgo moon comes in, where we're, okay, well, that doesn't align with what I believe should be anymore. So we literally, like you're saying, we can take the reins and guide what we want for our futures. If this isn't aligning with me anymore, then change it.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that, like, literally we just experienced this Mars-Venus conjunction, and this isn't the first one in Aquarius, because actually they already had a conjunction in Aquarius in 2022. However, this is the first one in Aquarius under the influence of the recent conjunction to Pluto. So there is a new cycle, but the cycle of 15 years of Mars and Venus conjuncting Pluto in the sign of Capricorn now ended. It's finished. They will not conjunct Capricorn again in our lifetime anyway, Pluto in Capricorn. But now they started this cycle, which will be ongoing for the next 20 years, of Mars-Pluto conjunction and Venus-Pluto conjunction with in the sign of Aquarius. However, this is under influence of them being the rulers of the nodes. So this is very, very significant, because they are the rulers of the nodes. And this is showing to us that, just like we were saying, the new cycles has already begun. They are being seeded. We don't know what is that going to look like, because we of course have this in conjunction between the stellium and it's between Venus and Mars and Moon, but they are all in stellium, so they are impacting one another. And the actual Moon, there is an in conjunction. So we don't know, we don't see how it's going to look like, because it's a step-by-step process, and it hasn't fully manifested. And also because Virgo is a mutable sign, it's all fluid. It's going to look like different way for different people. But touching upon the Jupiter topic, Jupiter is a traditional ruler of Pisces, which is not so relevant for evolutionary astrology, but I think is relevant in this context, because what really came to me where you were saying about the values is that we've all lived that, well, not all of us. I mean, I didn't particularly myself, and I know there are others, but most people live that story where we were being told these are the values. You have this house, you have this car, you have these vacations, even you have this boat, or you have this plane, you have whatever the hell, you know, all these material things, Taurus, tangible things. How many people are happy? I mean, how many people are happy? And it's interesting because I just had this conversation with someone today, and he said, well, it doesn't matter if, like, you know, if you have a house, you want a bigger one. If you have a car, you want a bigger car. If you have a, I don't know how many inches flat skin, well, you want a bigger one. You have a bigger swimming pool. You want more and more and more. And none of that holds a meaning. It has meaning for 5 seconds while it's a new thing, new toy, right? So with this Jupiter being squared by, actually its ruler, Venus and Mars, ruler of the South Node and North Node, and it's saying about this crisis of consciousness, which is about something that needs to be released in order for the cycle to end. It's saying the way we are heading, where we are heading with this Aquarius age, people will have very different values. It will not be about how many designer bags I have and shoes and cars, and none of this holds a meaning anymore. I mean, like, yes, it can make you happy for 5 minutes and it's about practicality. It takes you from A to B, but people will be investing their time, energy, and you know, they will value different things. Going forward, people will value a very different things, because we had totality of experience of these values, and they didn't make us happy. They didn't make you feel any better about yourself. It doesn't matter how many designer bags and clothes and shoes you have. If you don't feel connected to yourself and your soul, you will always feel lacking. Always.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. It reminds me of something Jeffrey Wolf Green was saying about Pluto. It's like you're always you're attracted and attached to something, and it's like Pluto is just hungry. Once you reach that attachment, it's like immediately replaced by another desire, and we're just flowing after desire till we have all of these things. I mean, you know, I keep talking about the state of the world where we just have so many clothes. I remember hearing a statistic not that long ago. I don't know how true it is, but there's enough clothing on the planet that will clothe human beings for a long time. Like we just keep buying new ones, and the other ones, you know, they may have a whole, you know, back in the day when we didn't have so many clothes, people literally fixed their clothing.
Yeah, I remember that.
They don't do that now. We just throw that one away. It ends up in a landfill, or, you know, maybe if somebody is lucky, they get a hold of it and can reuse it or something. But yeah, I think that we will begin to value things less and life and freedom more. That's at least my hope. You know, happiness. What does make us happy?
There is that saying where it says that, you know, like the one of the reasons for the disease in the world is, it goes something like, because people love things and use people, you know, like if people loved people and used things, world would be a different place. But we find ourselves in a world where people use people and love things, something in that meaning. And this is what I feel that is being fractured with Uranus. And of course, Venus and Uranus currently have a mutual reception because Venus is in Aquarius. So I really feel, and it's very interesting with the clothes. I 100% agree. That's why I love thrift shops. I love charity secondhand shops, because
this is where I get my clothing.
And it also doesn't make you so attached, you know, to these things. You just like, yeah, you know, it fulfills its purpose, and then you just pass it down and we buy. It's like this continuous recycling. But I really feel that there is definitely something in it. And actually what you were saying about this Pluto and this continuous desire for reincarnation, that's exactly the point. Because the soul, because when we are in a human body, we have the amnesia, right? We forget. And then we are being drawn by our desires, soul desires to pay off the karma, learn the lessons, whatever it is, you know, whatever it is that people believe that they came here to do. but we haven't had that experience, or at least not for a long time. I'm sure that there was a time in a, you know, past ancient history when that was the case, where the soul was present in a human body to the extent where we are conscious of it, which is exactly what we keep talking about. This is the Aquarian age. This is the human 2.0, when the higher self, the soul, is present in your human life, like consciously. It's not just this every now and again you get a goosebumps or something, but it's like we are being in a marriage, in a union with our higher self, and we are having a human experience from that point of view, which is going beyond. It's going beyond,
Yes.
truly. And I feel this is really what is going to create the shift in this reincarnation and karma and stuff, because suddenly, if we make choices consciously, because we are guided by the higher self and perspective of reality from a different vantage point, we won't have to act unconsciously in amnesia and keep recreating the wheel, and then having to have to reincarnate to learn the same lessons because we don't even remember what we did last time. So my understanding is that going forward, this will no longer be the case. We will not be born with amnesia thinking that, oh yeah, I'm just a human body that is nothing other, and we die and that's it. I don't think so. It doesn't make sense to me. And this is what I feel will shift the pattern of this entire human reincarnation process, that it will be probably coming from the place of choice rather than, oh well, I didn't learn this, or I've done this and I need to go back and fix it.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree. And I specifically with the fact that we are becoming more connected with our higher selves as these veils begin to dissolve. I think maybe even that could be an energy of this Saturn in Pisces, is that, you know, there's an alignment between the spirit world and the physical world that is happening. And which helps us to align to our higher selves. I think it's interesting. Yes, actually, I think it's today. I think today Mercury is at maybe not. I can't remember. I think today or yesterday Mercury was aligned with my natal Mercury in Aquarius. So, but it couldn't have been. It was pretty recently though. And I was like, wow, this Mercury in Aquarius to me is like the physical mind, the earthly mind, the lower mind being aligned with the higher mind. And we've just recently had this energy come to fruition, and now the old mind is closing off, is the way that I see it. And I think that it helps us to align. I think this journey is us aligning to our higher selves, really in a more conscious way. I mean, I think that our higher selves generally guide us for the most part. I mean, of course, we could go against it, and that's when things keep looping around because the higher mind has better ideas. So we keep going around that spiral staircase. But I think that with this connection to our higher selves, and literally with our values, and aligning with our higher selves with this new phase, Mars, Venus, I feel like things can shift for each of us, you know. And it's like got this, there's an element of belief, like what do we believe to be true? What do we believe that we are able to accomplish?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as we begin to separate from these old belief patterns of what is possible and what is not possible, and really, because I think everything is possible.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just what you believe to be the limit. And our previous society and our previous way of looking at the reality is very limited, and it doesn't allow us to entertain these, you know, fantastical ideas and abilities that we could definitely step into. And so I think that the possibilities of us creating whatever it is that we want in our future is absolutely there. We're just doing the work to get there right now. And I say this, I know every 2 weeks, the universe is lining us up for this great shift, and we're in it, you know.
Yeah, now like last year we were talking about the preparation, now we in it. We can't
We're
see it because we are at the early stages, but we are literally in it
yeah.
now.
Are you feeling particularly yourself different than you were, say, even 2
Oh,
weeks
like
ago?
completely different. Like, you know, I literally, but that's because I also listen to a lot of channeling material, which I know has its own frequency and vibration to attune you to your own, you know, like connection
Yes.
to your soul and higher stuff. And I literally, I even when I speak to my friends about, well, my good friend about it, I feel like my brain is being stretched. Literally, I
Yeah.
literally feel I'm literally I can imagine my brain literally like being stretched to its limit, like, and you know, like they call it the energetic surgery. You know, when you listen to traveling, they do the,
Wow.
you know, the energy surgery on you. And I really believe that because even like interestingly, I was recording with, you know, with my soul sister Marisa yesterday, the stars and cards, you know, our tarot
Yeah.
and astrology collaborations, and we were talking exactly about this because we start talking, and you very likely observed it yourself in your own experience, where you start talking about something and suddenly there are all these different subjects popping up, like literally we starting to think multidimensionally because you start talking about one subject and then all these different are popping up, and then you like you want to go and explore that one and that one and that one, and that will take you to different, like another 5 different directions. And this is literally what it is, because we
Yes.
are not linear, we are not meant to be just, and this is why the matrix, because I always say to my clients, you know, like also to lighten things up, to say, well, of course the soul wouldn't choose something that's easy, because, you know, how would you then feel that you can grow if it's easy? So of course we will create, we unconsciously create it, because this is our manifestation, the world we're living in now. It's not by accident, we manifested it by our belief system that was being conditioned by the other. Again, you can see
Yes.
I'm already going in 1,000 different directions with this. So trying to stay to the subject, like, you know, the world we are experiencing right now, of course, is going to represent challenge, because otherwise it wouldn't be easy for us to just wake up. If it was easy, right, the soul wouldn't grow. So what is this technically showing us is that, yes, you know, like the world that we are experiencing right now is the manifestation of the old paradigm, which was
Yes.
being created by us, being conditioned by the external forces, by our agreement, you know, our soul contested to it, it agreed to it, nothing is by accident or coincidence. But now this time has ended. Like we can see Saturn in Pisces, and I mean, there's no coincidence also that we have Mercury Sun Saturn conjunction on the same day, which is again where the downloads are coming through. So we
Yes.
are really going beyond the matrix, going beyond the conditioning. And what I actually started saying 5 minutes ago was that this world is designed this way. It's literally like a computer game, you know. Oh, there is an obstacle you
It
need to jump
is.
over and stuff. So that's why it's designed this way, to keep us like in a hamster wheel, you know. Oh yeah, you go to work, you have kids, you know, like it's so much stuff, so much busyness, so much you don't have time to even think about these things, you know. Like you come home
Right.
exhausted, you're happy to be alive, right? Because that is the challenge of the hero's journey. That is the, you know, that is the, like, it's literally like a computer game, that of course we need to move through obstacles so we can get to the end of it and say like, oh my god, yeah, I'm so proud of myself, I'm on the next level now. And it's not about better or worse, it's just the spiral of evolution, right? So I really, you know, going back to your original questions, I really definitely can see a huge shift in my own personal experience, where, I mean, the fact that time is disappearing, we already spoke about it, that it's like weeks are like days and months are like weeks, you know, the time is
Yep.
going so quickly. But in that spectrum of time, it's very interesting to observe from the human perspective how things are feeling different. You know,
Yeah.
everything is the same, looks the same at the moment, looks the same, you know, but everything feels very different because the
Yeah.
way I'm perceiving my experience is different.
Yep. And it's interesting. I was just talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and she was expressing just having similar experiences, but experiencing them very differently, where people will actually see you and perceive you as the same, but you are completely different on the inside. And I know that happens in both directions, but I just think that that's so interesting that yes, I look exactly the same, but I am not the same person that I was, a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, certainly not a year ago. And I'm still rapidly changing. It's almost like I can feel the shift. I can look at thought patterns that I've had and say, oh, well, that's not working for me anymore. Or even what's really been happening is old thought patterns that I used to have as a child and like kind of disregarded them are popping back up as like, yes, like I was right then. Why did it get taken away? Or, how did I lose that pattern? Uh, I think that we're just all kinds of, it's like shuffling a deck of cards. And yeah, I definitely feel very, very different and excited to see where that goes and what to do with it next. Because that's
Exactly.
the next thing. We're moving in. All of this stelliums that are in Aquarius and Pisces are going to be in Aries before too long.
For the
And
eclipses, yes.
and everything, yes, and everything is going to shift at that point.
Yes, yes, because that's the really when the new is being birthed, like
Yeah.
is the beginning of the new astrological year, where this energy actually going to have the fire of the creation. Because I really feel with this Aquarius and Pisces energy we have present is this rapid closing of the old. So that's why I feel that for a lot of people, like you just described, the pattern of the past are becoming so obvious very quickly, but it doesn't take us like before. They would say, oh, it takes you 21 days to change a habit or something. Well, I don't think it's taking that long these days. Like things are happening so quickly. So it's literally, and this is what, I also keep mentioning, which probably keeps triggering people, where I say this is the most, like we are so blessed to be alive at this time, which I know people will go, she lost her mind, is she for real saying this?
No,
But
no, no,
I
no. I'm
really
agreeing
believe
with
that
you.
I really believe that it's such a privilege to be alive at this time, because all the past karma, incarnation, wounding, yours, ancestors, collective, it all can be done so quickly. It literally is with the intention, prayer, little ritual, whatever it is. All it needs is the awareness and consciousness, acceptance, and just the willingness for change, to invite the energy in. Because it's like, imagine before, and I'm sure it was you, I'm sure it was me, it was a lot of people, like the people that were like the shaman, the people other people looked up to for help, the wise men, the wise women and stuff. They had to study all their life to deserve that privilege, so they would have that knowledge and access to all that knowledge. A lot of people, they had to work so hard for it, and now it's like bam bam, it's becoming so available, which I'm sure again for a lot of people, they might get triggered that, for example, someone like me, I studied astrology for less than 4 years, right? And they're like, well, who is she to talk? I've been studying astrology for 30 years or something, and like no comparison again. But I really feel that all these things are available to us and available to everyone. All you really need to do is be willing, like obviously by healing and through this, like I said, intention, letting go of the obstacles, of the boundaries that are standing in our way to get in there. I think there is even like a quote from a Rumi that say, don't go looking for love, remove the obstacles that stand in your way of
I
of
love that
receiving that.
saying.
There is, I'm probably butchering it, but something like that.
No,
They say you don't need to go looking for it, just remove the
no.
obstacles.
Yep.
And it's exactly that.
Yep. I heard the same thing about wealth, that it was, I think it was in reference to the law of attraction, that it's not that you can't attract things to you. You just have to stop putting the obstacles for those attractions to be coming to you. That everything that you got coming to you is coming, will come, but you have obstacles, and the obstacles can be beliefs. You got to believe you got to do something, or you have to, have a particular, I mean, who knows what the obstacles are. But I definitely, I was like, Removing
Yes,
the obstacles.
I mean, we can even see it in the world because, like, again, stories, these are all stories. But for example, when people will say, like, oh, yeah, like to be rich, you need to work hard, or it takes long time, or whatever it is, whatever are the stories, the limitations we tell ourselves, like when you go and buy a lottery ticket and you will say, like, oh, yeah, I wouldn't be so lucky, or I never won anything or anything. These are all spells, right? And actually, the
Yes.
people that are the richest people in the world, I don't think they work that hard. Actually, the real rich people that we don't know about, I'm not talking about the people in media, but the real rich people, they understand this. They're
Oh
probably
yeah.
born with wealth and they attract more wealth, but I don't think they have to slave 9 to 5, 7 days a
No, no,
week.
no, no,
Like,
no.
I don't think so. So this is what I mean, that like literally we are living at the time where I would encourage and invite everyone to question everything you've ever been told about your life. Literally
Yes.
everything, all of it. Because like you said, everything that you ever wanted, it is out there, it's available to you, and it's on your way to you. The only reason why you're not experiencing it right now, and that's me included, it's not like I'm spared of that. There are a lot of things that I'm blocking in my life, is that belief, and a lot of that is got to do with Taurus. I don't
Yep.
deserve, not good enough, I don't know what to do, not perfect enough, I don't have the skill, I don't have the gift. Well, the universe is unlimited. It's well, you can have whatever you want, your wish is your command, but it depends whether you believe you can have it or not. And this
Yep.
is where people, even when they come to me and say, well, what can I do? And I'm like, well, I'm not the one to tell you. That's for you to decide what you want to do, or what is your purpose, or and like, and I'm sure you experienced it with your clients as well. The saddest thing when people, because of the story, because of the conditioning, which is why I feel that at current age, traditional astrology can actually cause a lot of harm to people and a lot of like limitation, because it's so polarizing. And the amount of people I have coming to me for reading and being scared that, oh, I know I'm doomed because I have these placements in my chart and I have these transits going on, and and all these kind of things. And I'm like, your soul that shows this, this chart, which is still just a guidance, it's not a life sentence, why would your soul hate you so much to choose things that are bad for you? Makes
Right.
no sense to me. So I'm like,
Right.
like, it's up to how we interpret things, what we believe. If I believe that my placement of whatever it is, and this transit is the best thing that is going to help me to change my life forever, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yep.
So this is where I really encourage people to really, really, really question everything you ever been told,
Absolutely.
everything everything you even tell yourself, and it doesn't even matter what is the quote unquote truth, because there is no such a thing. You decide. Literally, you
Yep.
decide what the hell you want your truth and your reality look like. But the
Yep.
thing is that, well, but that is not true, is it? I can decide I'm a millionaire, I'm gonna live in Hawaii or whatever, and it's not really the truth, is it? Well, that's where we block in ourselves again. So
Yeah. It's true. It's like you know, the it starts with the thoughts. The thoughts lead to the beliefs. The beliefs lead to the value. And all those three are whether it's like it leads to the value of how you value yourself, how you value other people. It's all of these they're all connected in that way. And those beliefs and values link to how your reality is. It's like Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and then Saturn. It creates the reality. And all we literally have to do is change our thought pattern. And also spells that come out of your mouth, because that is right in with the thought patterns, right? It's what's the negative self-talk that you're doing that will help to create these beliefs. And I mean, it just is this big cycle of pattern drawing that we've been conditioned to do, that we are literally learning to break free from right now. Like, here's the time. And you don't even have to believe me. Check it out for yourself. When you when you have something negative to say, watch what happens. Or when something negative is about to come out of your mouth, catch it and switch it and then see what happens.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, because it literally is
just
casting spells.
it is casting spells. And yeah, so I think it's interesting that we have this closing phase to Mercury, to the sun, like, okay, we're not doing that anymore, because it's not allowing us to live in our authentic selves, this old way of thinking. And so we're getting ready to take that step forward. We're going to end the old way of thinking so that we can step forward and really become our authentic selves. And that's the Pluto in Aquarius with its opposition point in Leo. We have to become authentic. And
Well,
it's difficult because we're afraid to do that. We've I mean, I know that as I grew up as a child, I'm still there's nobody alive at this point that can tell me what I actually did as a child. And when they were alive, I didn't know to ask the question, but I want to know, like, why they thought I was so bad. Like, what did I actually do that was so bad where they would make me feel like I was a terrible person? But I know now that it's not true.
Yeah, they just try to mold you into the same pattern they were molded into, because that's the safety and security. That's what we know. Like every time we see something that is outside of the box, like, you know, we think like, oh, is it crazy? Is it something wrong with it?
Yeah.
But it is very interesting, because this is literally where we at. You know, with the Mercury in Pisces in the new conjunction, after the new conjunction with Pluto in Aquarius, the first one of the upcoming 20 years. And the one thing I want people to pay attention to is that Moon is going to conjunct Pluto every single month. You know, not for 20 years, because of course we're going to have one more retrograde into Capricorn, but from November onwards, until I don't know which month it is in 2043, Moon is going to conjunct Pluto in Aquarius every single month. This is how rapidly we are going to change how we see ourselves. Every month you can be a completely different person, literally. This is how quickly it's going to be happening. So I just wanted to bring this out there, because with every lunation, every single month, you will have the ability to be a completely different version of yourself. It will be absolutely available to you. But it's, again, what do we believe, right? What do we believe? What is the stories we tell ourselves? And it's just, actually, when you were saying about the childhood, that's all we need, just to think like a child with the experience you have as a person. But even that, you know, like, yes, you have the experience, so you know, the ego, don't cross the road when there is a traffic and highway and all that, don't put your fingers in a socket or stuff like that, you know, this practical thing, human things.
Exactly.
But anything beyond that, think like a child. If you speak to a small child before they get conditioned by the society, they don't understand that there is a separation. They don't understand that fairies and dragons and Marvel action figures, they don't exist. They will even say, if you speak to a little boy, they say, yeah, I'm a Superman. They don't think it's impossible, you know.
Right.
So this is where we have to go back to. It's the Leo, it's the heart, it's the child. Everything is possible. But we were being told that this is not real because the Capricorn and Leo, you know, like they are not in conjunct, right? But it is real.
It's interesting that you say that, because of the Capricorn and Leo, because the Capricorn is the conditioning.
Yes,
literally the conditioning. And it can be called the parenting, and the parenting is the conditioning. They're all the same archetype. It's a structure that is superimposed upon our being.
And that's why this year we have to become our own Capricorn.
This is why we have to become our own Capricorn and are guided from within. Just as simple as that.
So, I mean, in essence, just like we say every month, the message is very simple. It's just the planets are once again rearranging themselves and showing us where we are at in the process.
That's right.
But we know where we're coming from and we know where we're heading. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, because the detail of that, Virgo, the detail of that will be different for everyone, because you choosing your timeline based on what you believe, what you think. I actually had somebody in my comments saying that, well, how do you think this is true? And I said, like, well, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying this is my perception of reality. I'm not saying, and I said the question you should ask yourself is, what is your truth? not what is
Oh,
my
good for
truth.
you.
I'm like, you need to ask us, what is your truth? What do you want your truth to be? Because truth is Sagittarius, it's mutable. It's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, it is. And it aligns with your experiences. You know, what are your experiences? I've had some pretty fantastical experiences in my life. My truth is very different than some people's truths.
And the more you
Yeah.
live in your life in alignment with the fantastical, the more magical it will become.
Ah, yes. That is the thing. I find the world to be a very magical place because of the experiences. And so it's my truth. And I just am in the process of working beyond the conditioning so that I can actually live in that truth. And I think that's the job for all of us as we break free. You know, we've got 20 years now, a 20-year cycle to do that breaking free and really to live in our heart. And it's going to take trust. It's going to take just being able to try different things because we don't know how to get there. It's not like it's been done before. We're going to be stepping out anew. And so trial and error is going to be the way that we can go, you know.
Well, that's Virgo.
It is Virgo. And you know, we'll have help along the way. We are always going to align with others that will help us to achieve our goals. I think
Exactly.
that's part of the way spirit works. You know,
And this is actually what's been coming up for me in my environment, like the people I'm in communication with, where the other like physical environments that we are finding ourselves in are changing rapidly. And in many cases, we don't like it. We go like, I don't want it to change. I don't want it to be different. I don't want these people to be like this. I want them to be like I want them to be. Well, but this is where the choice comes in, because you cannot change someone else, but you can make your own choice, which I know for some people is very difficult, you know, to, for example, move, or, you know, to, I don't know, hang out with different people, but it's not impossible. So this is where is the choice, you know, like sometimes, especially as we will go forward with time, and unfortunately the frequential difference will become more obvious. I'm not saying that people will divide further, but it's going to be much more of a gap with regards to frequential mismatch.
sure.
Some people will have to physically maybe move or change jobs or maybe change friends or whatever. And this is the ego that is gets scared because it's the known. Even that we might not necessarily like these people or this job or this neighborhood, but it's what we know. It's the familiarity. And that's why this Uranus in Taurus, you know, it's like breaking us out of that, which is saying, well, don't hold on too tightly to anything because things are changing, because Uranus is the ruler of all these planets in Aquarius and will be the ruler of Pluto for the next 20 years. And Uranus will be moving during that period of time.
Yep. It won't be long before it's moved into Gemini.
That's all about choice.
It is all about choice. And that'll be interesting because by that point, Mercury will be well on its way. Yeah, I'll have to look at the upcoming transits to see how that will happen because Mercury is going to have to conjunct Uranus at some point
Oh,
as fast as it moves.
Mercury is going to conjunct Uranus, I think, in April.
Is it?
I think so. I don't have the dates written down, but yeah, because Mercury moves. Oh no, it's gonna be in May. You know why? Because Mercury is gonna have its next retrograde in Aries.
Oh, okay. So it'll go back.
Mercury is gonna conjunct Chiron 3 times. Mercury is gonna conjunct North Node and Chiron in March, but then it's gonna have retrograde from April 1st. So it's gonna conjunct North Node only once because, you know, North Node goes backwards. But Chiron, there's going to be 3 conjunction. And this is, again, very interesting because we just had this North Node Chiron conjunction. So there is a new cycle between the two with regards to this wounding, where we are wounded to go into this new direction because we are being told, well, stay in a line, just like you said at the beginning. If you come out of the line, you die. You know, this is how it used to be. And now it's like there is the memory in our body. This is unknown. It means death, right? So now with this Mercury, this new fresh Mercury of this new cycle with Pluto in Aquarius, Mercury is going to conjunct Chiron 3 times in Aries.
Nice. Change of thought.
Mm. Because it's
Yeah.
necessary, like you just
It's
saying now.
necessary. That's what I was saying. It starts with the thoughts, it moves to the beliefs, then the values, and then you can create it with your reality. So yeah, it makes sense that it would connect 3 times.
Yeah, and then it's going to conjunct Uranus after, like May or June. I don't have the exact date in my
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. But it'll be, yeah, Uranus will still be in Taurus.
Until next year, yeah, and 2025 is when Uranus first dip its toes into Aries.
Right.
Sorry, Aries, Gemini, but so Neptune will into Aries and then go back.
Oh yeah. That should be a big year.
But it is really you see, actually, last thing I want to share. I spoken to my parents a couple of days ago, and obviously, you know, the environment they living in. My dad is addicted to news. You know, watching them every single day. It's like it is a form of addiction. You know, and like you know, they had some questions with regards to my life, and they didn't like the answers that I gave them. And he was like, "Well, what you gonna do if this happened and this happened and this happened?" And I'm like, that is not part of my reality, Dad. I don't know what you're talking about. This is not the reality I'm experiencing. And again, I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm on my high horse and being arrogant. I'm just saying this is not where I'm putting my focus on. I'm not saying bad things are not going to happen, challenging things are not going to be happening, but I'm not going to waste my life focusing on that, because I want to be focusing on something different that I want to be experiencing. But then obviously life happens, right? Life happens to all of us. And I'm using this example because I'm trying to help people understand that literally when I look outside of my window and when my dad looks outside of his, under the influence of his television being on 24/7 watching news, technically, it's a very different world, very different world, and it's still on the same planet. And this is like that for everyone. You know, like what is in your vision field depends on you. So what reality you are experiencing and will continue to be experienced, it depends on you entirely. Yes, there are things that will be happening collectively which we don't have so much impact over, because there are a lot of contracts, karmic contracts, there are a lot of things going on that we cannot necessarily influence because they are happening, right? But your window view outside of your window, or what you're looking at in your room, or what you're watching, and that is completely up to you. And this is how we manipulate in a positive way our reality, our experience, our timeline, exactly like this. It is not some big magic where you need to, you know, have a magical lamp and say, please genie, you know, take me to Caribbean. It's say, well, how would you feel if you were in Caribbean, and how can you recreate that feeling where you are now?
Exactly. Exactly. It's interesting. Last October, I used to have a video game on my phone that I would get up in the morning and have coffee, and I would play my little game. And I had that game on my phone for 3 years or something, 3 or 4 years. But then I was constantly complaining that I didn't have enough time to do all the things that I needed to do. And I can't remember what the alignment was. It was definitely a new moon. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take this game off my phone. And I just said to my friend today, I was like, you know what? Things have changed. I actually have enough time to do everything, but I made a choice to take that out of my field, you know, months ago. And I am now experiencing the realization that that choice changed the perception that I have of my life. And I mention it because this is what happened to me in my reality, that we can make choices that change our perception and our reality and literally change our world, that it's possibly there. And it comes from within, it comes from within, it comes from a thought change, it comes from even a desire. What do you want to see in your world? You know, what do you want? What do you want to see? And what steps do you think you need to take to get there? And begin taking those steps. And that's what this full moon is about. Taking those steps, deciding what it is that you want to see in your world, who you want to be even, and taking the steps to get there. That the universe is ripe right now to be able to make those moves, where not so much a couple of months ago when Pluto was in Capricorn, we were all feeling like stuck. Everybody I talked to was like, I can't wait till it moves into Aquarius, because now everything feels like it's moving and very quick, but it was very difficult to make those changes and moves while Pluto was in Capricorn. So if nothing else, the thoughts that I would like to leave to the viewers is that we're in this energy of rapid change, and that we as co-creators of this world have the ability to make the changes in ourselves through thought change, through changes in our beliefs. It's just a matter of checking out something new to change your thought pattern. It's just that simple. Checking out a new way to send your mind, watch a different TV show or whatever. Read a book about something that you haven't done. Just it's a very subtle change to change the thought patterns. But once you do that and incorporate that into your beingness, your beliefs begin to change, and then your values change, and then your reality can change. And we all have the ability to do that.
Yeah, it's like rewiring your these neural paths.
Yeah.
So we're not doing the same thing every day, because that's what Dr. Joe Dispenza say, like every day is the same. You're thinking of toilet, then you're over the toilet, you're thinking of your coffee, you're drinking your coffee, so like,
Exactly.
and it's I found really helpful for me, and I already shared it in my practical application of astrology, where because of the external circumstances of me staying with my family last fall, I had to reduce the amount of time I was spending on social media, watching stuff on YouTube and stuff. And I was getting all stressed when I was getting all these notifications that this person had a video, this person. So I had to mute all the notification. And then I even muted all the notification on my phone, like all of them, like my messenger, everything. I muted everything, because I was like, I don't want to feel that pressure to do something which maybe I don't have time to do, or maybe I'm not in the right state of mind. So I feel that even that can make so much change to people's life, where they just give themselves that permission to actually have the choice when they want to do what they want to do, rather than have this notification bombarding you and telling you this is what you have to do right now. So it's again taking the charge of your life. And just like you said, like maybe, letting go of something that actually, is this me using my time, effectively, again, Virgo, effectively, efficiently, or, is there something else that I wanted to do for years, but I don't have time to, because I'm doing all these other things that actually are just maybe taking my time and are not giving me no value for it. So so this is again the discernment, right? It's for each and every single one of us to decide with this Capricorn hat. You are the creator of your reality. You are the grown up to decide, well, is this nurturing me? Is this nourishing me?
I love that.
Because with Virgo is about it's also about the healing the physical body. I mean, Virgo is very practical, earthy energy. So is this actually nourishing me? Is this good for me?
Is this good for me?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And to begin taking those steps, this is about, Venus. This is about the Taurian archetype. What is good for my body? What is good for, taking this new direction? What do we want to do? And how do we want to live that new direction? Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's all happening, and Venus and Mars are trining the South Node. So we are definitely being supported. If you have any doubts, trust me, we are being supported, even though, once again, it might not feel that way right now because we can't see it. Well, but all the way back, I was being annoyed. Why I can't watch my YouTube, because I need to play with my 1-year-old nephew. And now I'm thanks God that happened. It cleared so much of my time, which I don't have now when time is so accelerated.
Well, that's so funny that you had that experience probably right around the same time that I had the experience with the video game.
Yeah, it was probably the Virgo New Moon.
It may have been, actually.
Yeah, Virgo New Moon.
Virgo season. There you go. And now, oh man, I'll bet it was the Virgo new moon, because now here's the Virgo full moon and we can see it.
Yeah, yeah,
We can
exactly.
see what it is that happened. That's perfect. I
And
love
why?
that.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well, I think we maxed it
a good
out.
one.
What do you feel?
Yeah, I think I think we got the gist of what's going on, and I think we've shared it effectively, and you know, this is a good thing. Be
Yeah,
watching the stars for what's coming next.
I hope we made Virgo proud with our details.
Yeah, I hope. I'm sure we did. We did fine.
It's all good. You see, this is
Yes.
again the striving for perfection. Did we cover everything?
Probably not, but that's okay. We covered enough. We don't have to
Exactly.
hit it all.
So thank you once again, Adrienne, for
Thank
joining
you.
me for another enlightening chat.
Yeah, let me stop this share button. There we go.
Oh, you disappeared.
There I
Oh,
am.
here you are. Perfect.
I'm
Yes.
not sure what it seemed like my computer got slow for a second. Took me a minute.
Do tell people what's going on in your world, your website, your everything.
Well, I'm meeting with my niece tomorrow. So hopefully my website will be up. And you can find me at I write a moon report every 2 weeks at Jess Kieran Astrology on Substack. And you can also reach out to me on my Facebook page, and I also have a Facebook Jess Kieran Astrology that you can check me out on. And of course, my email address, if you ever want a reading, any kind of consultation, at heartplace@peoplepc.com.
Wonderful. And for me, I guess with people watching me, then they know where to find me. But yeah, all my offerings are on my website, moonlightsoul369.com. And I actually believe, Adrienne, that your website is coming right on time with the Aries season.
I think so too. I think so.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're gonna have our meeting tomorrow, so I'm excited by it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you everyone for tuning in, if you're still listening. And yeah, until next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Bye.